Nothing like the smell of burnt oil and betrayal to start your week. My name's Brent Morrison, and I've been fixing cars for 23 years in this Cleveland suburb. At 41, I thought I had life figured out. Good garage, steady customers, and a fiancée who could pour a perfect whiskey sour. Turns out I was about as wrong as a carburetor on a Tesla. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The first red flag should have been when Lila started working late at Murphy's bar every night. Tips are better after 10, she'd say, counting 20s like a Vegas dealer. The second red flag was when she started talking about Rico, the new gym manager who totally gets fitness culture. The third red flag was when I caught her taking pictures of my 1967 Mustang Fastback. "Why are you photographing my car?" I asked, wiping grease off my hands with a shop rag. Lila looked up from her phone, all innocent eyes and glossy lips. "Just showing Maddie how pretty it looks in the sunlight, babe. You've done such amazing work on it." That Mustang was my pride and joy. Took me 3 years to restore every bolt, every piece of chrome. Found her rusting in a barn outside Akron. Brought her back to life with my own hands. Candy apple red with black racing stripes, 390 big block engine that purrs like a satisfied cat. "Don't post that anywhere," I said. "I don't need people knowing what I drive." "Of course not, honey." She kissed my cheek, leaving a sticky lip gloss residue. "You're so paranoid sometimes." That night, I found her tablet on the kitchen counter. The screen was still lit up, showing her Facebook messages. My stomach dropped like a transmission with no fluid. The conversation was with Rico Martinez, all flexing selfies and gold chains. But it wasn't the shirtless gym photos that made me freeze. It was the message thread about my Mustang. "Can definitely get $35K for this beauty," Rico had written. "My cousin deals classic cars, cash deal, no questions." Lila's response, "Perfect. Need money for the Bachelorette party in Vegas. Brent won't even notice it's gone for a week." Rico, "What if he finds out?" Lila, "He's too boring to do anything about it. Besides, I'll just tell him it was stolen." I set the tablet down carefully, like it was a live grenade. My hands were shaking, and not from the 3 cups of coffee I'd had that morning. 23 years I'd been fixing other people's problems. Time to start fixing my own. The next morning, Lila bounced into the kitchen wearing her Murphy's bar tank top and those jeans that cost more than most people's car payments. "Morning, babe. I've got some exciting news." She poured herself coffee like she was starring in a commercial. "I found a buyer for the Mustang." I nearly choked on my toast. "Excuse me?" "For our Vegas trip. The girls and I need to do it right, and you know how expensive those suites are." She waved her hand like she was discussing the weather. "Don't worry, it's just temporary. We can buy it back after the wedding." "Lila, that car isn't for sale." "Oh, don't be so dramatic. It's just sitting in the garage collecting dust. We need the money, and Rico's cousin is offering $35,000 cash." There it was. Rico's name, dropped like she thought I was stupid enough not to connect the dots. "Rico's cousin," I repeated slowly. "Yeah, Rico knows all about classic cars. He says your Mustang is worth way more than you think." She grabbed her purse, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror. "The buyer's coming at 2 o'clock. Can you have the keys ready?" I watched her apply lipstick with the precision of a surgeon. This woman I'd planned to marry, who'd shared my bed for 2 years, was selling my most prized possession to fund a party with her boyfriend. "Sure, Lila, I'll have the keys ready." She kissed my forehead like I was a good dog who'd just learned to sit. "You're the best, babe. This is why I love you." After she left, I sat in my kitchen for a long time, staring at the engagement ring box on the counter. 2 months' salary for a ring she'd picked out herself. Now it looked like evidence of the biggest mistake of my life. I picked up my phone and called Tyler Brooks, my best friend since high school and the only ex-cop I trusted. "Tyler, it's Brent. I need a favor, and it involves my lying, cheating fiancée trying to steal my car." "Well, hell, Brent. Took you long enough to figure out she was trouble. What do you need?" Tyler arrived at my garage at 1:30, looking like he'd never left the police force despite being retired for 3 years. Still had that cop posture and the suspicious eyes that missed nothing. "So, let me get this straight," he said, leaning against my workbench. "Your fiancée is selling your car to her boyfriend's cousin to pay for a Vegas trip where she'll probably be screwing said boyfriend. That about sums it up. And she thinks you're just going to hand over the keys like a good little doormat." "She's about to learn otherwise." Tyler grinned. "I love it when cheaters get what's coming to them. What's the plan?" I pulled out my phone and showed him the screenshots I'd taken of Lila's messages. "Simple. She can't sell what she doesn't own. The title's in my name, the car's in my garage, and she has no legal right to make this transaction. Theft by deception. That's a felony in Ohio. Exactly. I called Detective O'Hara this morning. He's sending a patrol unit at 2:15. Tyler whistled low. You're really going to have your fiancée arrested? Ex-fiancée. I called off the engagement this morning. Left a message with the wedding venue. At exactly 2 o'clock, a black pickup truck pulled into my driveway. The driver was a thin guy in his 30s wearing a Browns jersey and carrying an envelope thick with cash. Behind him, Lila's Honda Civic pulled up, music thumping loud enough to wake anyone. Lila got out wearing sunglasses that cost more than my monthly electric bill. She'd brought Maddie Chen, her best friend and partner in every bad decision she'd ever made. Brent, Lila called out, waving like we were old friends meeting for lunch. This is Carlos, Rico's cousin. Carlos, this is my fiancé, Brent. Carlos looked nervous, glancing between me and the Mustang parked in my garage. Beautiful car, man. Rico wasn't kidding about the condition. Yeah, Rico seems to know a lot about my car, I said. Lila shot me a warning look. Brent's just protective of his toys. Carlos, you said $35,000, right? Carlos patted the envelope. Cash, just like Rico promised. Fantastic. Lila clapped her hands together. Brent, can you get the keys and title? Actually, there's been a slight change of plans. That's when Detective O'Hara's patrol unit turned the corner, followed by a second police car. Both vehicles pulled into my driveway with their lights flashing, but no sirens. Lila's face went white under her makeup. Brent, what's going on? Well, Lila, here's the thing. You can't sell something that doesn't belong to you. That's called theft. 2 officers got out of the patrol cars. The older one, Sergeant Martinez, had worked with Tyler for years. The younger officer, probably fresh out of the academy, looked eager to make an arrest. Mr. Morrison, Sergeant Martinez approached. You called about an attempted theft? That's right, Sergeant. This woman was attempting to sell my vehicle without my permission or any legal ownership. Lila stepped forward, turning on the charm that had fooled me for 2 years. Officers, this is just a misunderstanding. Brent and I are engaged. I was just trying to help with our finances. Ma'am, are you listed on the vehicle's title? Well, no, but do you have written permission from the owner to sell this vehicle? We're getting married. I shouldn't need... Ma'am, I'm going to need to see some identification. While Lila fumbled for her driver's license, Carlos backed toward his truck. Look, I don't want any trouble. Rico just said his girl needed to sell a car. You're free to go, sir, Martinez told him. You haven't committed any crime. Carlos didn't need to be told twice. He was in his truck and gone before Lila finished explaining how this was all a big misunderstanding. Ma'am, you're under arrest for attempted theft of a motor vehicle, the young officer announced, producing handcuffs that gleamed in the afternoon sun. This is insane. Lila's voice went up an octave. Brent, tell them this is crazy. Actually, officers, I'd also like to file a complaint about conspiracy. She's been planning this with her boyfriend Rico Martinez. I handed Martinez my phone with the screenshot evidence. Maddie, who'd been silent up until now, finally spoke up. Lila, maybe you should call a lawyer. I shouldn't need a lawyer. Brent, we're supposed to get married in 6 weeks. We're supposed to get married, I corrected. I canceled the wedding this morning. I also canceled your access to my bank accounts and changed the locks on my house. The look on her face was worth every penny I'd spent on that engagement ring. Pure shock mixed with the dawning realization that her meal ticket had just expired. You can't do this to me. Actually, I can. And I am. As they loaded Lila into the back of the patrol car, she pressed her face against the window, mouthing words I was grateful I couldn't hear. Maddie followed in her own car, probably already calling Rico to warn him. Tyler patted me on the shoulder. How do you feel? Like I just dodged the biggest bullet of my life. What's next? I looked at my Mustang, still safe in my garage, then at the engagement ring I'd thrown in my toolbox that morning. Next, I deal with Rico. By Thursday morning, Lila's mugshot was trending on the local Facebook groups. Suburban woman arrested for trying to steal fiancé's classic car had been shared over 2,000 times. The comments were brutal. Imagine being this entitled. Poor guy dodged a bullet. Hope she enjoys her new jewelry. Posted with a picture of handcuffs. I was reading the comments over my morning coffee when my phone rang. Murphy's Bar, where Lila worked. Brent, this is Danny Murphy. I need to talk to you about Lila. She's not my problem anymore, Danny. Actually, she is. She listed you as a reference on her employment application. With her arrest record, I can't keep her on staff. Insurance won't cover it, and I could lose my liquor license. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. That's between you and her, Danny. Just wanted you to know. And Brent, you did the right thing. That girl was trouble from day one. An hour later, Rico Martinez walked into my garage like he owned the place. Gold chains catching the light, protein shake in one hand, gym bag in the other. Everything about him screamed douche with daddy issues. Yo, Brent, heard about the drama with Lila. That's rough, man. I didn't look up from the engine I was working on. What do you want, Rico? Just wanted to clear the air, you know? Make sure there's no hard feelings between us. Hard feelings? I set down my wrench and faced him. Why would I have hard feelings about you planning to help my fiancée steal my car? His smile faltered for just a second. Hey, man, I don't know what Lila told you, but I saw the messages, Rico. The whole conversation about your cousin, the cash deal, how I'm too boring to do anything about it. Rico's protein shake suddenly needed his full attention. Look, Lila came to me asking for help. I was just trying to be a friend. A friend? Is that what you call screwing another man's fiancée? I don't know what you're talking about. I pulled out my phone and showed him more screenshots. Pictures Lila had sent him. Messages about meeting at the Motel 6 on Route 8. Plans for their Vegas trip that had nothing to do with a bachelorette party. Rico's face went red under his spray tan. Okay, look, things happened. But Lila said you guys were having problems. The only problem we were having was you. He puffed up his chest, trying to intimidate me with his gym muscles. You need to watch how you talk to me, old man. Old man? I laughed. Rico, I've been working with my hands since you were in middle school. These old man hands can take apart an engine and put it back together blindfolded. They can also take apart little boys who think muscles make them tough. You threatening me? Just stating facts. Now get out of my garage before I demonstrate. Rico backed toward the door, but he wasn't done posturing. This isn't over, Brent. You messed with the wrong people. Looking forward to it. After he left, I called Tyler. Rico just paid me a visit, made some threats. Want me to have a talk with him? Not yet, but I might need a favor later. That afternoon, I drove past Gold's gym where Rico worked. His custom Jeep Wrangler was parked in the manager's spot, all chrome and oversized tires. Probably cost more than most people make in a year. I didn't do anything that day, just observed. Noted his schedule, his habits, his weaknesses. Rico Martinez had made 2 mistakes. First, he'd messed with my car. Second, he'd threatened me in my own garage. I was going to make sure he regretted both. That evening, I got a call from Maddie Chen. She was drunk, crying, and apparently feeling guilty about her part in Lila's scheme. Brent, I'm so sorry. I told her not to do it, but she wouldn't listen. It's done, Maddie. You don't understand. There's more. Lila and Rico, they've been running this scam for months. What kind of scam? They've been blackmailing bar owners. Rico films them doing drugs or cheating on their wives, then demands money to keep quiet. How many bar owners? At least 5 that I know of. Danny Murphy was one of them. That's how Lila really got her job? After I hung up, I sat in my living room for a long time, thinking. Lila and Rico weren't just cheaters. They were criminals. And they'd been using Murphy's bar as their base of operations. Time to turn up the heat. I spent the next morning making phone calls, first to Detective O'Hara, reporting what Maddie had told me. Then to Danny Murphy, suggesting he might want to check his security cameras for any unauthorized recording equipment. By noon, Danny had found 3 hidden cameras in his bar's back room. By 2 o'clock, the police had a warrant for Rico's arrest. I was under the hood of a Chevy Silverado when Tyler called. Your boy Rico just got picked up for extortion. They found videos on his phone of at least 6 different bar owners in compromising positions. What about Lila? She's being questioned as an accomplice. Looks like her legal troubles just got a lot worse. I should have felt satisfied. Justice was being served, the law was handling everything properly, and I was getting my life back. But I wasn't satisfied. Not yet. Rico had called me an old man, had threatened me in my own garage, had planned to steal my most prized possession. The law was handling the criminal charges. But some debts were personal. Friday night, someone threw a brick through my garage window. Saturday morning, I found all 4 tires on my pickup truck slashed. Sunday afternoon, my mailbox was smashed with a baseball bat. Rico was out on bail, and he was pissed. I called my insurance company, filed a police report, and installed security cameras around my property. Then I called Tyler. He's escalating. Time for phase 2. What do you need? Remember when we were kids and you wanted to be a private investigator? Yeah. Feel like doing some surveillance work? Tyler arrived Monday morning with a camera equipped with a telephoto lens and the patience of a man who'd spent 20 years on stakeouts. We parked across from Gold's gym and waited. Rico's routine was predictable. Arrive at 8, leave for lunch at noon, back by 1, gone for the day at 6. Every day, same schedule. Guys got no imagination? Tyler observed. That's what makes this easy. Tuesday at lunch, while Rico was at the subway down the street, I walked into Gold's gym like I belonged there. The teenage kid at the front desk barely looked up from his phone. Rico around? I asked. Lunch break. Back in an hour. Mind if I wait in his office? I'm supposed to pick up some paperwork. The kid shrugged and buzzed me through. Rico's office was exactly what I'd expected. Motivational posters, protein powder samples, and a computer that wasn't password protected. Amateur. It took me 15 minutes to find what I was looking for. A folder labeled Insurance Claims contained photos of Rico's Jeep from every angle, along with documentation of its value for insurance purposes. I copied the files to a flash drive, then did something that would have made my high school computer teacher proud. I installed a small program that would randomly delete files from Rico's hard drive. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make his life inconvenient. On my way out, I stopped at the front desk. Tell Rico that Brent Morrison stopped by. He'll know what it's about. Wednesday morning, Rico called me at 6 a.m. You son of a bitch. What did you do to my computer? Good morning to you too, Rico. Computer problems. Don't play dumb. I know it was you. Rico, I fix cars, not computers. Maybe you should call tech support. This is harassment. No, Rico. Harassment is throwing bricks through windows and slashing tires. What I'm doing is called consequences. I hung up and went back to sleep. Thursday afternoon, Rico's Jeep broke down in the gym parking lot. Funny thing about sugar in a gas tank. It doesn't actually ruin the engine like people think, but it does clog the fuel filter something fierce. I happened to be driving past when I saw him standing next to his disabled vehicle, phone pressed to his ear, face red with frustration. I pulled into the parking lot and rolled down my window. Car trouble, Rico? Stay away from me. Just trying to be neighborly, you know, like how you were being neighborly when you planned to steal my Mustang. I'm calling the cops. Good idea. Ask them about tampering with someone else's property. I hear that's a crime. I drove away whistling. In my rearview mirror, I watched Rico kick his own tire in frustration. Friday morning, Detective O'Hara called. Brent, I need to ask you a few questions about Rico Martinez. What kind of questions? He's claiming you've been harassing him. Says you broke into his workplace and sabotaged his vehicle. That's a serious accusation. Does he have any proof? That's what I figured. Guy's looking at 5 to 10 for the extortion charges. Probably just trying to muddy the waters. Probably. Still, I have to ask. You wouldn't do anything stupid, would you? Detective, I'm a 41-year-old mechanic who just dodged a bullet by not marrying a criminal. The last thing I want is more drama in my life. Good to hear. Oh, and Brent? That was smart. Calling us instead of handling things yourself. A lot of guys would have done something they'd regret. After I hung up, I sat in my garage looking at my Mustang. She was beautiful, pristine, perfect. Everything Lila and Rico had tried to take away from me. But I wasn't done with them yet. Some lessons needed to be learned the hard way. Saturday night, the power went out in my neighborhood. ComEd said it was a transformer issue, but I knew better. The cut was too clean, too targeted. Only my block was affected. I was sitting in my kitchen, eating a sandwich by flashlight, when I heard the first window break. Tyler was staying at my house for the weekend, sleeping on the couch since his divorce. He was up and moving before the glass hit the floor. Back door, he whispered, pulling on his boots. I grabbed my flashlight and headed for the garage. If they wanted my Mustang, they'd have to go through me first. The garage door was still intact, but I could hear voices outside. At least 3 men, maybe 4. Rico's voice was easy to pick out. Loud, angry, stupid. Teach this old man a lesson, he was saying. Trash the place. I hit the button to open the garage door, flooding the driveway with light from my emergency lantern. Rico and 2 other guys were standing there with baseball bats, looking like the world's dumbest baseball team. Evening, Rico. Brought some friends? Rico stepped forward, bat in hand, trying to look tough. You messed with the wrong guy, Brent. Funny, I was about to say the same thing to you. That's when Tyler appeared from the side of the house, moving like the cop he used to be. Gentlemen, you're trespassing on private property. I suggest you leave. One of Rico's friends, a skinny kid with more tattoos than brain cells, swung his bat at Tyler. Big mistake. Tyler had the kid disarmed and on the ground in about 3 seconds. Anyone else want to try? Tyler asked. Rico's other friend, a big guy who looked like he lived on nothing but protein shakes and steroids, charged at me with his bat raised. I stepped aside and let him run face first into my workbench. He went down hard, red liquid streaming from his nose. "Oops," I said. "Should have watched where you were going." Rico looked at his two friends, one groaning on the ground, the other being held in a submission hold by Tyler, and decided discretion was the better part of valor. "This isn't over," he shouted, backing toward the street. "Yeah, it is," I called back, "and you lost." That's when the police sirens started wailing in the distance. Someone had called 911 when the power went out, and the cavalry was finally arriving. Rico ran. His friends weren't so lucky. Officer Martinez and his partner found two men on my property with weapons, one bleeding from a broken nose, the other with a dislocated shoulder courtesy of Tyler's police training. "Self-defense," Tyler explained. They came onto the property with baseball bats, making threats. The security cameras I'd installed caught everything. Rico's voice making threats, his friends attacking us, the whole stupid plan. By Sunday morning, Rico Martinez was back in jail, this time with no bail. Assault, trespassing, conspiracy, and violation of his bail conditions from the extortion charges. But I still wasn't satisfied. Rico had called me an old man one too many times, had threatened my property, my safety, my peace of mind. Time for the final lesson. Monday morning, I got a call from Lila. She was crying, desperate, probably calling from the county jail. "Brent, please, I need help. They're saying I could get 5 years for the extortion thing." "Should have thought of that before you decided to become a criminal. It was all Rico's idea. He made me do it." "Nobody made you do anything, Lila. You chose to cheat, you chose to steal, you chose to lie. Now you get to live with the consequences. Please, I'm begging you. I'll do anything." "There's nothing you can do. You burned that bridge when you tried to sell my car." I hung up and went back to work. Tuesday afternoon, Rico's lawyer called. Apparently Rico wanted to make a deal. He'd plead guilty to everything if I agreed not to sue him in civil court. "Tell Mr. Martinez he can take his deal and shove it," I told the lawyer. "I'll see him in court." Wednesday morning, I got the call I'd been waiting for. Rico had been released on a technicality, some paperwork error by the prosecutor's office. He was out, he was angry, and according to Detective O'Hara, he was making threats about finishing what he started. Perfect. I spent Wednesday afternoon preparing. Tyler helped, along with my neighbor Jim, who'd been a Marine before he became an electrician. "You sure about this?" Tyler asked. Rico's had multiple chances to walk away. He chose to escalate every single time. Now he gets to learn why that was a mistake. Thursday morning, I parked my Mustang in the driveway instead of the garage. Visible from the street, keys hanging from the ignition, practically begging to be stolen. Then I waited. Rico showed up at 2 a.m., just like I knew he would. He brought 2 new friends this time. Bigger guys, meaner looking, probably cost him his last bit of savings. I watched from my bedroom window as they crept across my yard, heading for the Mustang. Rico got to the car first, opened the door, slid behind the wheel. He turned the key. The dye pack I'd installed under the dashboard exploded in a cloud of red powder and glitter, coating Rico from head to toe. The car alarm started wailing, lights flashing, loud enough to wake anyone. Rico stumbled out of the car, coughing and spitting, looking like he'd been attacked by a craft store. That's when the sprinkler system I'd rigged activated, soaking all 3 of them with water mixed with washable paint. Red, white, and blue. Patriotic justice. By the time Rico's friends figured out they'd been had, my entire neighborhood was awake and watching. Porch lights, cell phone cameras, the whole show. Tyler and Jim appeared from the shadows, blocking the driveway exit. "Going somewhere, Rico?" I called out from my front porch. Rico stood in my driveway, dripping wet, covered in dye and glitter, looking like the world's most pathetic superhero. "You think this is funny?" he screamed. "Actually, yeah. I really do." That's when Detective O'Hara's patrol car pulled up, followed by 2 more police units. Amazing how fast they respond when you call ahead and tell them exactly when and where a crime is about to be committed. "Mr. Martinez," O'Hara said, getting out of his car. "We meet again." Rico tried to run. Hard to do when you're soaking wet and your shoes are full of glitter. He made it about 10 feet before he slipped on the wet pavement and went down hard. His 2 friends were smarter. They surrendered immediately. As they loaded Rico into the patrol car for the 3rd time in 2 weeks, he pressed his face against the window and screamed at me. "This isn't over. I'll get you for this." I walked over to the car and tapped on the glass. "Rico, let me explain something to you. I'm a mechanic. I fix things that are broken. And you, my friend, are very, very broken." The patrol car drove away, taking Rico Martinez out of my life forever. Lila lasted another week before she took a plea deal. 2 years in minimum security, 5 years probation, and a permanent criminal record that would follow her for the rest of her life. I sold the engagement ring and used the money to take a vacation to Florida. First time I'd been to the beach in 15 years. When I got back, there was a letter waiting for me from Rico, postmarked from the county jail. "You won," it said, "but you didn't have to destroy my life." I threw the letter in the trash without finishing it. Some people never learn. I kept the Mustang, of course. She's sitting in my garage right now, beautiful as ever, safe and sound where she belongs. And if anyone else wants to try to take what's mine, well, they know where to find me. Just remember to bring your own glitter.